Mai aveshya manastada. Your mind should be totally riveted to me. Unflinchingly, you should be fixing your mind in me. Kuru karmani matparaha. Being devoted me, holding me to be the supreme, the most high, the ultimate, the primordial. Do everything in this world. Nothing will affect you. Pitriyam chastanamadhishta yathoktam brahmavadibhihi mayyaveshya manastada kuru karmani matparaha. Narahari's part and blessing and benediction are over. Narada makes a statement. Prahladopi tatha chakre piduryat sambarayigam yathaha bhagavan rajan abhishikto dvijottamaihi. Prahlada tatha chakre piduryat sambarayigam. Whatever Narahari had told, ordered, in the same manner, the post-death ceremonies and rituals were performed by Prahlada. Rajan Abhishikto Dvijottamaihi. The best of Brahmins were invited, all of them came, and they did his coronation crowning ceremony. Prasada sumukham drishtva brahma naraharim harim stutva vagbhihi pavitrabhihi praha devadibhirvradaha. By the time Brahma arrived on the scene, after all, the whole thing has been started with Brahma. Hiranyakashipu went to Mandaradroni and standing on the 2 toes, raising his hands, looking into the sky, he started penance. And from that penance, all this confusion started. This tyranny flowed from there. So at the end of it, the same Brahma was there. Prasada sumukham drishtva Brahma naraharim harim. He came and saw Narahari. He was cool, calm, comfortable. Stutva vagbhihi pavitrabhihi. The most pure, selected words he used in order to praise Lord Narahari. Devadibhirvradaha praha. Surrounded by a number of celestial denizens, Brahma addressed Narahari. Deva deva akhiladhyaksha bhuta bhavana purvaja dishtya te nihatah papo loka santapano asuraha. Deva deva akhiladhyaksha bhuta bhavana purvaja dishtya te nihatah papo loka santapano asuraha. See the words used by Brahma. Loka santapano asuraha. The demon who was a tyranny to the entire world, luckily and fortunately have been killed by you, controlled by you, liquidated by you, exterminated by you. It's a fortune. Deva deva akhiladhyaksha bhuta bhavana purvaja. O primordial being, Deva deva akhiladhyaksha, the presiding deity over all the devas, bhuta bhavana, the supporter and sustainer of all. Dishtya, by virtue of a luck, this has been accomplished. Yosau labdhavaro matto navadhyo mama srishtibihi tapo yogabalo nadhaha samasta nigaman ahan. See, Brahma himself confessing. It makes a lot of meaning. What Brahma did in the way of gifting Hiranyakashipu with all the otherwise impossible boons. Now he says, Yosau labdhavaro mattaha labdhavaraha yaha asau. He who got all the boons, who was gifted by boons from me, navadhyo mama srishtibihi. Ultimately, what was the vara? The vara really meant that he became unkillable to all my creation. So everything that I have created in this world, nothing could destroy him. Such a vara he had obtained from me. Tapo yoga balo nadha. Along with the varas, the austerity he performed, the yoga bala he acquired, with all that he became so conceited, so proud, so arrogant. Samasta nigaman ahan. He destroyed all the Vedas, the entire Vedic culture and civilization he destroyed. Dishtya tanayah sadhu maha bhagavator bhagaha tvaya vimojito mrityoho dishtya tvam samito dhuna. Dishtya tanayah sadhu maha bhagavato arbhagaha. None of you should have any doubt. Repeatedly, Sreemad Bhagavatam uses the word Arbhagaha, a child, a very young one, with regard to Prahlada. So he was a 7-year-old boy. Dishtya, by virtue of providential movement, by good luck, so to say, Taneha Sadhuhu Mahabhagavataha, Hiranyakashipu's son, who is a very noble, magnificent soul, Mahabhagavataha, a great and lofty devotee of yours, Tvaya vimojido. What was the scene? Hiranyakashipu said, Vigathamanasya, you are ridiculing me, mocking me, disobeying me. I will sever your head. Saying this, he drew his sword and started moving towards the sun. In half a second, he would have been blown. The head would have been cut. In such a situation, Dishtya, fortunately you appeared. There was a dialogue between the two. And then, to indicate the dialogue, you suddenly appeared, turned his attention towards the pillar. Tvaya vimojidaha mrityoho. He has been saved from mrityu, death. Dishtya tvam samidodhuna. And very safely, he is standing by your side, graced by you, fully bestowed upon with your splendor. Dishtya tanayas sadhur mahabhagavator bhagaha tvaya vimojito mrityoho drishtya tvam samidodhuna. Etadvapuste bhagavan dhyayatah prayatatmanaha sarvado goptra santrasad mrityorapi jigham sataha. This is the Phalashruti of the whole narration. Why Srimad Bhagavata has incorporated it in such an elaborate manner, setting forth a number of values. On the one hand, it tells you how notorious nature can be, how cruel a father can be in front of the son, and how much of cruelty can one be perpetrate over the blood son, and how can so many others join him in the cruel venture. This is the notoriety of the world and nature surrounding us. So all this has been portrayed here. And finally, the manner in which there was a providential Narahari descent, and at the last minute, the saving measure was resorted to and administered. Now, this is the guarantee for you while living in this world. It is not a life insurance corporation floated by the government or the other people. It is not so. This is a spiritual institution that is penetrating everything else in this universe, that survives by its own glory, that survives by its own competence, its own subtle power and potential. Etad vapuste bhagavan dhyayatah prayatatmanaha. Have the necessary religious, devotional, spiritual or other disciplines and contemplate upon this Narahari. What does he say? Etad te vapuhu, hey Bhagavan, dhyayataha. You contemplate upon the Narahari form. Sarvato goptra santrasad mrityorapi jigham sadaha. You will be saved santrasad, all kinds of fear, even from death. You know why this Swamiji decided to tell you in an elaborate manner this episode? Only to deliver you a hand of safety and assurance. We are living in the jaws of death. There is a Subhashita which says, Uttar nahi pramanam jantunam uttara kshana jivane. In the next moment, whether we shall be alive or not, there is no guarantee or a proof or a security about it. Anything can happen. These are days when we are told he had a heart attack during sleep. Nobody knew about it. Anything can happen. In such a world, what is the safety for us? Narahari is the safety. Prahlada is the safety. Brahma is the safety for us. Here is a wonderful episode. An episode for strength. An episode for redemption. An episode for salvation. An episode for fear-freedom. Fear-freeness. Sarvato goptra santrasad mrityorapi jigham sadaha. I would like you to purchase a book, Srimad Bhagavatam, and read the 7th chapter, particularly this Prahlada Narahari episode. I have not discussed what Prahlada told his own classmates. That is the greatest nectarine message that you can find. The 7-year-old boy talking to children of the same age and bringing to their hearts and minds what? An embrace of the invisible Lord. An embrace of the invisible Lord. How beautifully he has sung. It's a beautiful message. The manner in which he answers his father. I have not told you all about it. Read those verses. Madirna Krishne paradasvato va mithobhipadyeta grihavratanam adamta gobhihi prajatam tamisram punah punascharvida charvananam. How beautifully he was saying this in front of his father. I wish we have a few citizens in this country who can be so confident, bold, sovereign and invincible like this young boy of 7 years. The whole country's picture will change. Such a great episode of value, message and assurance of immortality is this wonderful episode. Nrisimha uvacha naivam varo suranam te pradeha padmasambhava vara krura nisarganam ahinam amritam yatha. Narahari is about to depart. Brahma also had come and offered his remarks and greetings and prayer to Mahavishnu. Now he goes away from there. So the last word and message of Narahari was turning towards Brahma. He said, Naivam varo asuranam te pradeyaha padmasambhava. O lotus born, from now on, do not gift, do not bestow upon any asura this kind of a boon. One mistake is already done. And you can imagine how much of difficulty I underwent in order to put on this form, and scratching, biting and what all things were done. And I also had to take some kind of an attack and assault from Hiranyakashipu. All this you have seen and you have heard. Hereafter, never do this mistake. Varaha krura nisarganam ahinam amritam yatha. Suppose you give nectar or milk to a cobra. You may give milk or nectar, but the cobra will spit only poison. The cobra will spit only poison. Similarly, krura nisarganam varaha. Suppose you gift the wicked and the cruel people, the ignoble people with boons, all the boons will be used only for wickedness and destruction. Be careful about it and never make a mistake anymore. This is the way Narahari said to Brahma. Then what happened? Narada uvacha. Narada continues to give his observation. Ityuktva Bhagavan Rajan tatra evantardadhe harihi adrishyaha sarvabhutanam pujidaha parameshthina. Ityuktva Bhagavan Rajan. Narada is narrating the whole episode to Yudhishthira. So he says, Iti uktva, having said in this manner, Bhagavan, O Raja, tatra evantardadhe harihi, Lord Hari just disappeared where he was. You know what is a miracle? A miracle truly is one which appears in a miraculous manner to deliver a particular role, and after delivering the role, it suddenly disappears. It should not survive. Then only it is a miraculous outcome. It is not things which somebody gives you miraculously and which remain with you. It can never remain there. It always appears in a miraculous manner to fulfill a visible purpose. Once the purpose or the mission is executed, it should immediately disappear right then and there. Ityuktva Bhagavan Rajan tatraiva antardadhe harihi. There itself Lord Hari disappeared. Adrishyaha sarvabhutanam pujida parameshthina. Before going, Parameshthi, Brahma himself offered him worship and prayer. After having been worshipped by Parameshthi Brahma, Adrishyaha Sarvabhutana, that Narahari was no more available. So you cannot submit Narahari to any kind of a carbon dating examination or research. It has gone there, fulfilled and gone. Ityuktva Bhagavan Rajan tatraiva antardadhe harihi adrishyaha sarvabhutanam pujidah parameshthina. We are actually discussing the Navayogi conversation with King Nimi. and Karabhajana the ninth is making his presentation. There he used one important line of a poetry, one sentence. Dhyayam sada paribhavagnam abhishtadoham. Lord Hari is actually an abhishtadoha. He is a wish-yielding tree, a kamadhenu, from whom you can make all the objects of your desire. Is it true or not? Will it happen? Has it happened? What does Sreemad Bhagavatam say about it? What does our land, with its great and unparalleled culture, have to say? What does it have to say? These are the points I am presenting this before you. One reason is that while discussing the Ekadasha Skandha, it is primarily a philosophical one, a spiritual one, a metaphysical one. It discusses values, moral, ethical, philosophical, spiritual, mental, intellectual, amoral, etc. Normally there is no story. But these are instances, very important instances discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam as a prelude to the whole 11th Skandha. Normally I will not be covering these items at all. So I thought my viewers should also listen to what are the stories. When perhaps I explain it in the manner I am doing, you will find a new insight. You may have something to tell your children and grandchildren also. That is why I am going into all those episodes. Prahlada is a very, very important one. Now I would like to tell you about Sudama or Sridama. It's a wonderful story. If you read it from the original text, you will find it is very enchanting, scintillating, fascinating, alluring, enrapturing, capturing, everything you can, every description you can give it. So I will speak something about it. This is the story of Sudama. Sudama was a Brahmin living in utter destitution, penury, poverty. He had his wife Sushila by name and also children. Being Brahmins, they could not resort to any profession. It's not permitted by our culture, nor is it the tradition or practice. So they were carrying on with stark poverty and privation. How, in spite of all these things, he looked towards Krishna, looked toward God, and how he continued with his own devotional austerity is something that you should read to understand, appreciate and assimilate. Nevertheless, I shall give you a narration which will open up your mind and perhaps initiate you into this story and the moral and the message it conveys. Krishnasya asit sakha kaschid brahmano brahmavittamaha virakta indriyartheshu prashantatma jitendriyaha yadruchayopapannena vartamano grihashrami tasya bharya kuchailasya kshutshama cha tatha vidha pativrata patim praham layata vadanena sa daridra sidamana sa vepamana abhigamyaja. This is how the story proceeds. Krishnasya asit sakha kaschid. Vedavyasa is presenting Sudama here, not for any other reason. Krishnasya asit sakha kaschid. Our wonderful Krishna, he had a friend, a very close and intimate friend. His name, Krishnasya asit sakha kaschid brahmano brahmavittamaha. He was a Brahmana. About Krishna, you know, he was born in Vrishnikula, he was born in Mathura, but bred in Vrindavan. But his friend was an outright Brahmana, a full-fledged Brahmana. Brahmavittamaha, not only a Brahmana, a knower of truth. Brahmavittamaha, who knew Brahman, the supreme reality, in full measure as a direct realization in his heart. So he was not an ordinary Brahmana. Brahmana in the true sense of the term, a Brahmajnani, such a person. And Krishna had such a friend. Krishnasya asit sakha kaschid brahmano brahmavittamaha. So whenever we discuss the story of Krishna's intimate friend, it is part of Krishna's life. If it was not part of Krishna's life, neither the story nor Sudama would have had any mention here at all. So you should not think of it as a disconnected story. It is actually the exposition of Krishna's own life. It is not anything else. Krishnasya sakha kaschid brahmano brahmavittamaha virakta indriyartheshu prashantatma jitendriyaha. This is how a brahmana should live in this world. Virakta indriyartheshu. He was very dispassionate and indifferent to the objects of delight for the senses. Our life is primarily sensory interactional. Our interactions are in the sensory level, and we interact with the objects of the world. All comforts, all happiness, all kinds of luxuries, all these things come as part of the sensory enjoyment. In his case, virakta indriyartheshu. He was not interested in them. Being a Brahmana, his focus was Brahman. His focus was the inmost self, the presence in himself. He never looked to the outward world for any glory, attainment or enjoyment. Prashantatma jitendriya. As a result, he was a jitendriya. He had a lot of self-control over the senses. Prashantatma, his mind was very placid, calm and quiescent. Yadruchayopapannena vartamano grihashrami. My dear souls, my dear viewers, all of you are householders. Here, Bhagavata is presenting to you the story of a householder. Keep it in your mind. Match yourself always with that. This is how you also have to be. Yadruchayopapannena vartamano grihashrami. Though a householder, he has a wife, he has children, all of them have to be fed, clothes have to be given to them. Monthly and occasional ceremonies and rituals will have to be performed. All these duties were there, but nevertheless, yadruchayopapannena vartamano. The word yadrucha, it happens in Bhagavad Gita also. Yadrucha labha santushtaha dvandvadito vimatsaraha. It's a very great discipline. No, we are all sannyasins. We are running an ashram. If you come here, you can live very comfortably. We have got rooms running water taps. Electricity is there. Fan is there. Everything is there. We have got a generator also. Whenever the board power, Kerala State Electricity Board power fails, we switch on the generator. But understand, all these are yadruchayopapannena. Everything is there by virtue of the offerings which our devotees and disciples make. Nothing we earn and nothing belongs to us. The whole blood in my body, it belongs to our devotees, well-wishers and seekers. Nothing is there of Bhoomananda Swami in this world. Even his body is not his. Yadruchayopapannena vartamano grihashrami. By virtue of the providential course of events, whatever arrived, they were accepting and they were living by. Tasya bharya kuchailasya. Tasya kuchailasya bharya. His bharya, his wife, he was called Kuchaila because he was always wearing torn pieces of cloth. Nothing else he had. He did not have a full-fledged dhoti. I think some of you at least must feel like giving him one now. Tasya bharya kuchailasya kshut shamacha tathavidha. Now what will be the nature of his wife? If you can picture about her. He says, Bhagavata says, kshut shama. While he was a kuchaila, the wife was a kshut shama. What is the rule or norm for a wife? A good householder wife. Whatever she cooks and prepares, the best part of it she will give to the husband and the children. And if something is left, that alone she will take. Suppose materials to cook are much less, then what will happen? She will sometimes offer food. When food is offered, very seldom the eater will think that, oh, is there food enough for the others? That control will not be there. So until he is appeased, he will call for food and he will ask for a second or a third helping. Nothing is left. What can the housewife do? She will remain quiet, drink some water. Now she was such a lady. Chut Shama. She had grown emaciated, thin. Even the body skin was wrinkled. She was beaten by hunger and thirst often. Chut Shama cha tatha vidha. This is not the story of an affluent family. They were not given to any profession. They would not seek it. Their only profession was the prophecy of devotion. That's all.